Hello and welcome. Today we're going to be talking about tickets and how to properly, how I would suggest you hand in the tickets or how you would even approach the tickets. Because the tickets are probably the hardest part about this whole assignment. Let's make a new document. Oops, I'm in the wrong thing. Let's go to new document. And we're just going to do the tickets on a 8.5 by 11 page. Okay, so we're going to go to print, make sure that we're in inches, and we just go to letter. Okay. And so we are working in inches right now. Now, in the previous assignments, so the ad, you didn't have to do any registration marks. In the poster, we had the computer do the trim marks, okay? In here, we're going to do the trim marks ourselves. But the first thing to do is that we need to decide how many tickets we're going to fit on one page, because we're going to put all the tickets up on one page. It's called ganging up. And we're going to decide what are the shape of our tickets going to be, what are the sizes going to be, and how many can we fit on one page, because we want to try and do things as efficiently and use less waste and save our client money. So we're just going to start by just drawing some boxes. I'm just got like a box. Okay, is that a good shape for a ticket? Not really. It's like 3 inches by 3 inches. Like a regular size of a business card is about 2 by 3.5, about that. Sometimes you see London Knights tickets where like they're long and narrow like that. So those type of things you kind of think about. And depending on how you do your ticket shape, kind of depends, will dictate how you lay it out on the page. For example, if these guys were like really long and narrow, like this, and I'm just going to do it real quick, then now if I hold down the Alt key and I drag, I can copy something. All right, so I'm going to do that, okay. And so then if I did like that, okay, and then now I just use the free transform tool to about this shape here. Okay, so that's maybe like a good shape of some tickets. And you can get 8 up on one page. That's called ganging up on one page. Say if you wanted tickets to be a different shape, like say, let's rotate them. Let's just kind of, oh, I guess I should probably do a better job here. Let's just do that. And then, and do it this way. All right. So now they're a different shape, and actually you could probably get more on one page, okay? And even just stretch them out like that, okay? So that could be the size of those tickets. Your page could be horizontal. So if I were to change my orientation of my page like this, so in other words, I could just take the whole thing and rotate it sideways and fit this on a horizontal page. The size of this one, let's see what the size of that is. That is 3 and 7.5 by 2. That's just slightly bigger than a business card, so that's not bad. In fact, you know what, just for fun, I think I'm going to use this size. Now, which way do I want to do it? Yeah, okay, I think I want to have, what do I want to do? No, I want to do it the other way. I'm going to do it the other way. I'm going to do it this way, and then we're going to rotate like that. And I'm going to have long and narrow ones, because I want to have long and narrow ones. Okay. So this is my layout right now. And I think that's going to be the size of my tickets. So that is 1.875. That sounds like, you know what, that's 7/8. So 1 7/8. By 5, and that's going to be the size of my ticket. I'm going to draw some trim marks, and we can do that this way. Basically, all I'm going to do is draw a line, and this is actually it's kind of funny how we would actually do this in the business. We would actually draw these lines, and we line them up perfectly with the measurements. In fact, if I were to click here, I know that that's on the 1/2 inch mark, or sorry, that's Yeah, so yeah, right there. So see how that's off by a little bit? I can make that 0.5. And I know that that was perfectly right on the money there. And then I'm going to duplicate this. I'm going to copy and paste. And then I'm going to rotate it. There's my rotate tool. And then I'm just going to move it over here and to line up to there. Okay. And see how when I did that, it turned green? Like that went green. It just means that I know that that's lined on the 0.5. Okay, so now let's, so what I can do too is that I've got that lined up. And you notice that I've got a separation here because we want to have our color bleed off the edge. And so we know that actually this is going to be where I trim, but actually the artwork is going to actually be a little bit bigger than that. Okay, so then these trim marks will trim off part of our artwork. Now I'm going to, let's click and I'm going to hold down my Alt or Option, depending if you're Mac or keyboard, and I'm going to drag, see how I'm dragging that? If I hold down the Shift key, it keeps it on the same plane. There we go. And here. Now, you might think this is a fair amount of work. There's ways of making our work easier. Like, for example, I already have all that done. And I need to draw all the ones down at the bottom. So let's actually just take that part right there and holding down the Alt key or the Option key and just drag that down to all of those down to the bottom. So now they're all duplicated. So now I want to zoom in just to be more accurate. That's pretty accurate. And because the program automatically wants to try and snap. Oh, did I accidentally delete that one? There we go. And select all of them and drag those over. So now I've got all my cut marks. Okay. Now this gets to be the confusing part. In fact, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to save that cut marks as its own thing, and I'm going to lock it so that way I can't mess with it by accident. Okay. Now there are tricks. Now, like say if you had like a picture, and I should probably unlock that, and I'm going to start with one ticket, and we're going to move this into its own layer. There. And I'm just going to work with that for now, so that way I'm not messing things up. Okay, working with one ticket. I'm going to import my background in. File and place, Control D is the quick key. And raw, from background, going to bring that in. And it's huge. That's okay. Going to click on the direct selection tool, and I'm going to bring that down in size. Actually, if I want to, I can bring it down in size by just going, let's bring it down by 20%. 20. And, it's moved it down here. Oh, that didn't work out very well now, did it? 20. It's down there. What happens if I make that where it's in the thing is 0? Can I grab it now? Okay. It's probably upside down because probably as I was messing with these boxes, I probably, when I was rotating them earlier, I probably turned it upside down. So actually, let's take that. Oh yeah, I can see that I turned it upside down. It's 180 degrees. Let's just change that back to 0. And I'll put that back where it belongs. All right. Now, here's my problem. And click on the image inside. Going to blow that up. Keep holding down the Shift key to keep it proportional. And I think that my layout for this is going to work pretty well with this. I'm going to move that off to the side. And so I can have some information there. So I'll have some information at the top, or maybe have the black bar there. Now, the trouble is though, if I were to take this, and if I were to have this image, and I were to copy this image over here, over here, you'll see that this image here is it's not blending in. You see a seam. You can't see a seam no matter what you do. Okay, so what I can do is a couple of things. It doesn't matter if there's no seam going off the edge here. So like maybe if I wanted to, I could have like one evergreen background that would just be on that would span the whole thing. Or you can see why those people in the examples that I showed you had like white space right here. Okay, so they just would like that. Okay, and so that way these spaces would have just created like something that appears to be no seam. Okay, something else that you can do too is I'm just going to back up here. If I were to have that black box that I used earlier, so if I were to go and just do a black box and just put that there, and let's actually make that black box black, and then we don't want to give it an outline. So that's my black box there. So now if that black box is there and it expands, I can actually use one box for this whole thing, and it will expand over the whole thing. So now there's no seam in between the tickets. So I think what I'm going to do is, yes, I'm going to have, you know what it's going to look like? It's going to look like it's going to look like London Knights tickets. It's going to, if you pull out like an old London Knights ticket where it's got like the bars going on the bottom and at the top, it's going to look exactly what they did here. In fact, you notice that they have the London Knights with the different players on them. They print them out on one sheet. They have like all the information on them. But then when they have them out on one sheet, they will swap out pictures of the players on one sheet. Okay. So now that I've done this, I've got no seam. But now the problem, you might think, well, oh no, what happens if I take these things and I bring them down? Like, we'll pretend that I put white spaces here. What happens if I bring these down now? Well, okay, now there's a seam here. We can see a seam. And so when the person cuts and the person's off, you're going to see a line. Well, there's a couple of things that we can do. Number one, if I wanted to, I could just make this have a bar at the top as well. And so you would just have like a small bar at the top, which you see. And that can happen. Or, let's just back that up. Or all I would do is take this and rotate it. So click on my rotate tool, click on my anchor, turn this upside down, and put that there. So now you don't see all that is black. Okay. So with that said, let's do our first one. Whoops. I'm going to do that. Bring that back down. Okay. So now let's just do our one ticket. So I'm not going to do all the information, but I am going to just pretend. Let's make another guideline here so I can see this. All right, and then actually I want to make sure that's perfect. I want to put that in the middle right there. And actually you can if I have that, you can actually space them out perfectly with your things here, with your numbers. So let's design it. So I've got a little bit of white space here, a little bit of white space here. I'm going to bleed this off to the edge. So now I've got some off to the edge for that cut line. Let's go add our title. So let's go add our head. Okay. It's massive. Let's drag that down. Okay. Bring that into here. Okay. Just gotta nudge that over. And then let's say that my microphone here, now your tickets are kind of funny that way. I'm going to nudge this up a bit because I do have lots of room. I could go back and we're going to center that. because I think what I'm going to do, I could add my gradient up here to make that darker up there. But for now, I think I'm going to take my information that I need. Let's take that off of here. And see how this information here, I'm not going to need all the dates. You're just going to one. So I'd probably just pick, I locked it, that's why. There we go. I would probably just give all the information that I need. All I need is like one of these dates, December 2nd at 7 p.m., Medway High School, and you don't need information about how to purchase tickets anymore. So let's just take this. I don't even need the price of the tickets anymore. Well, I could if you wanted to. Maybe, probably if you do, because then if you're selling the tickets to somebody, they've got the price on it. They've got the what they paid for it. So let's just throw that in here. And we're just going to line that up. Maybe because we're going to center our type and bring that smaller. So at 7 p.m., $10, that's good. And then let's just make all our type the same leading in the Medway High School Performing Arts Center. We'll take a look at that and preview it. If I hit the W, it just automatically goes to preview mode. And that leading is pretty spread out. Normally I like spread out leading, but just not right now. And there we go. Okay, so let's say that's my ticket. Oh, you know what? I'm going to take one step further. I'm going to take that blend. Where's that fade? All right, and I've got that fade. I'm going to take that box right here. I'm going to rotate it. Click on the rotate tool there. Click. That's my access point. Pivot. I'm going to cut. Paste. And then put that in the spot. I don't have my layers set up, so all I'm going to do is I'm going to make that small, right click on this guy, arrange, bring to front. There we go. Oh, that still has its outline, eh? We don't want that. Because if you make a mistake here, then you're going to make your mistake 8 times, right? All right, so now you can see the headline a little bit better. So there's our first ticket, okay? So now let's just copy and paste. Copy. Now, also going to do something, oops. Now, sometimes you may have noticed that there are you see how there's a little hairline right here? We're going to get rid of those in a minute. And bring those up. Okay, everything should line up. I'm going to copy and paste. Hit the rotate tool. Click, select my access point, and then drag around. Because the default access points I don't really like. And then we're going to line those up with each other. Now sometimes, if things don't line up perfectly, see how you got that white line right there? And that might be a problem that you might find. The easiest solution to get rid of it is get rid of that. You could either take this one black box, or you could take and get rid of all these other boxes, or just cover it up with those. Okay, so I just made this one box bigger, and so now you can't see a seam because it's only one box. Okay, so if we were in class right now, what I would do, I would print these out, and then I would bring them up on a table and I would cut them out, and you would all be amazed, say, "Ooh, that looks really cool." And because it does look really cool. Oh, I made a mistake. The Wonderful Life didn't do it. So rather than me redoing that, I'm actually going to just do it really quick. Oh, why didn't I do that? Okay, there we go. Space there. And then now if I was actually doing this for a real job, I would actually redo everything because it would bug me that things weren't perfectly the same. Because there is a chance that these things might be slightly off. But I'm going to, for right now, we're just going to leave that there. Okay. So there's our tickets. Now, for saving these as a PDF, I'm just going to go File and Export. All that stuff about, so tickets, go Save, still under Print. Under Marks and Bleed, all these settings are still here from before, from the old, from the poster, okay? So just watch that out. Watch that. We've hand drawn all our trim marks. So we've hand done all our bleed. Why have we done it on here? Because we've ganged them all up onto one page, and we've done some little trickery here in order to do a cool looking ticket at the same time, and have these things bleed over. And so that's why we had to do all this manually, okay? And I wanted to show you how to do it manually too. Because if you're making your own ticket, and so now you could just make your own ticket and print a bunch off on one page and make tickets for whatever. I had students make tickets for the school dance, and this is what they did. I had one girl do prom tickets, and this is what she did. So, so take all your marks off. If there's no marks, you don't need to worry about bleed. And then just go, actually, just for the sake of it, we're just going to go back down to 0. And we're just going to go Export. And so now you've got your PDF. So now let's just go to here. We do have our tickets. And there you go. And so you can see there's no seam here. You can see where one was off here, right? Like that one didn't line up just perfectly, and we get away with that because I took that one box and just spread it all over everything, and that just worked out great. So actually, this looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with the way this looks. So good luck. I hope that you guys are doing well, and we'll see. We'll see how you guys make out. And don't forget that you are going to have to change this to a JPEG when for your in order to put onto your final put it on your website. Sorry about that. Okay, take care. Hope you're doing well.